problems, and they don't have a lot of time or resources to go beat around the bush. So then if they have a general idea of what they want to do, then they will go to the UN goals, and then the UN goals will explain the nature of the problem. And then they also give examples of what other people have been doing to try to solve the problem. And then when they pitch the project, it is very important that they will help the investors to categorize the project and put them into the portfolio. And the UN goals here will help them to measure the impact in comparison with other solutions. Okay, so brief. The reason why we ask them to make a one-liner, it is to help them articulate the idea in the simplest way possible, that is fast to memorize and translate, make people pay attention to their project. So it's the first line of advertising. Then the second thing we ask them is UN goal is to help them to focus, find information related to the problem, find inspiration of how the problem can be solved by other. So then they can learn lessons from other people, other companies from different countries and places. Innovation doesn't have to be invention. And innovation is, in fact, it is the commercialization of invention. And then innovation will give higher level of utility for something that already exists. So it is very risky to present something that is completely new. So nobody understands it, nobody knows it. That will be very difficult to commercialize it. So you want to present something that is familiar with people. And the rule of thumb is around 80% familiar and 20% new. So that when people have a doubt about is it possible to do it, will it solve the problem, you can always cite examples of similar cases. So there is already success with this kind of solution, with this kind of product. It's possible to produce. So when we ask students to link it to UN goal, it will give them the shortcut to finding the examples, and also to have an idea of the KPI. So how they measure their social impact and where they can get the data. All right. So you understand the first social business idea, and this should be achieved very, very fast in their presentation. And then after that, we ask them question about ESG. As Ngân identified, now ESG is becoming something very important now. It has become a law in Europe and the bylaw in North America, and it's gonna be regulated in many, many countries, especially developed countries now. And companies are required to declare their ESG performance. So how they impact the environment, how they impact the society, and what kind of governance they create, whether they treat the stakeholders well or not. And so that's why we guide students on this. To better prepare for a good ESG performance, they really have to understand the target issue. So what exactly do they want to solve? And then they have to understand here the scale and scope of the problem. And this will also give them an idea of the potential impact that they can create. If the problem is everywhere, so, and if people are asking for a solution, they already have an instant market. So what they need to focus on is just to develop a effective solution. So, or imagine that the issue they want to address is not well understood. So then they will have to spend time and effort on educating the market. and raising awareness. So it will take them more time to commercialize their product. After that, now we ask them for the root cause. So where do we ask this one? So we ask them for a diagnosis, prescription, the description of the problem. And before giving a prescription for the problem, then they will have to explain the root cause. So now tell us why we ask this root cause, and they have to spell it out very well in their presentation. Any idea?
Perhaps makes it for because we have to we need to know the root cause to attack really the problem, because if not, we're not going to be able to make a change on the cause and instead of doing we have to do it on the cause and not in the symptom.
Exactly. Yes, because what we see when we observe from entrepreneurs, usually they like to focus on their own product and they like to focus on their solution. And many times their solution actually creates other problems. And if you want to create systematic change, you have to attack the root cause. So thinking of you go to a doctor with a symptoms that you have the toothache. So you feel pain here, and then the doctors could prescribe different medicines. They can give you just painkiller, or they give you the root canal extraction, or they can remove the tooth completely, right? So imagine that if you just come and look at, oh, I have a symptom, now I have a pain here, that's it. And the doctor say, oh, because I have a solution, oh, I can do for you, I just remove the teeth for you, and then that would be good. But you know that if the problem is not about the tooth decay, and if you remove the tooth, then you cause other problem for the patients, right? So imagine you feel pain here, it's just because you are growing wisdom teeth. And now the problem will disappear by itself. So it will take you quite a few days or even a month for the pain. But then once your wisdom teeth is grown, then the pain is over. No, then the best solution is just to have the painkiller, right? So, and then don't take out any tooth. And then because if you take out the tooth, they will have an impact on the remaining of your jaw and your function, right? But imagine if you come in, the problem is not growing wisdom teeth. You have the pain here, but the problem is because you have the tooth decay. And then now if it's a tooth decay, then you have to prescribe another solution, right? So it's not just painkiller. Painkiller, you can treat only the symptom and the pain will go back, right? And then the tooth decay is gonna infect surrounding tooth. So the problem would just multiply. But imagine that you have a pain here, but it has nothing to do with your teeth. Because you feel the pain here, but the problem may be because you have a tumor here. So extracting your teeth will not solve the problem. So unless you solve the tumor, you get the point? So this is a metaphor for the social entrepreneurs to understand that if you only focus on the tools you have, the solution you have at hand, without thinking about the root cause, it's very likely that you will fall into the trap of creating, solving one problem, but creating many other problems. And then then you are not a true social enterprise. So again, the definition of a social enterprise or social business is that you have to use market mechanisms to solve a social problem, and then your solution has to benefit the society as a whole. So we look at the net profit. So net social impact It's not just the impact you create on your own problem, but it has to be overall good for the society. All right. So then we really force students to think, first describe the problem you see that you want to solve. Then you have to dig down and find the root cause. And root cause is where you have to connect your tools, your product and services to the root cause. And then you have to explain the solution landscape. Why do we ask it this time? So after describing the root cause, the students have to explain the solution landscape, meaning who else are solving a problem. Why do we ask this? Before we ask about their own solution, you see that the order we ask the students is different from what entrepreneurs usually think. Entrepreneurs usually think about the product they have at hand, the solution they have. But then we say, no, I don't want you to think about your solution yet. I want you to think about other people's solution. I want you to think about other organizations' solutions. Why do we ask this?
Probably because we have to go in that space where nobody else is there, because we are looking for really to contribute to the major solution, to the great solution, and identifying who others are in the game. We should be able to, as a whole, be better. So it's not that we are in concurrence with the others, but we are working with others to make a solution, to contribute to the solution.
Yeah. I agree with you that we want to find our position. So how we can collaborate with others. And I also agree with Jay that to identify the gap in the market. But more importantly, in fact, for us, is that we do not want students to reinvent the wheel. Mm-hmm. Because it's a lot more effective to imitate creatively. Now, so you don't want to do everything from scratch. You want to look at what other people have done. So just the same as learning, right? So before we can go to the job market, we have to go to classes, learn from teachers. Teachers tell us what the previous generations have done, right? So we want to inherit the collective intelligence of whatever our society has come up with. And so the first one that we want them to look at what has been done already, and then analyze what has been done well, what has been done if not so effectively, and then they will be able to improve. So either they can, after the analysis of the solution and understand with a very good understanding of the root cause, so they can see one of these situations. First, the first situation is that our society identifies the problem correctly. However, the problem still exists because that people lack accessibility to the current solution. So what we need to do is that the solution works very well, but people don't have access to it. So it's better for us just to bring the solution to the people, right? Don't reinvent the whole solution. Just take that solution to the people. So the first, that the problem is well identified, the solution is good, but then lack of accessibility. That's why the problem still exists. So then it's better to focus on bringing the solution to the people, help people get access to that solution. Okay. Or we are in the situation where the problem is well identified. However, the solution is not well designed. Okay, so it's not effective because the solution doesn't treat the root cause of the problem, right? Or the solution only solve part of the problem, not all of that. So then we will have to focus on improving the solution itself. All right. Or we may come to the situation where that our society does not understand the problem correctly. So the solution is completely wrong. That way, we have to come up with a new solution. All right. So you see that the three ways we want to help students to be effective. So easiest is bring a solution that works well, and it's less costly. Second is to improve a solution that is not yet perfect, but it works somehow. And then if that doesn't exist, then we will look at finding a completely new solution. Yeah, because as social business, we really care about the kind of impact we can create. Ideas are very cheap. Ideas are everywhere. What's important is our ability to make it happen. All right. So now you see that we want to encourage students not to think about their solution. We know that they are so excited to talk about them. So they will start me. Yeah, I know I come up with something interesting, but okay, take one step back. Look at others, right? And try to understand why the problem still exists if there are already solutions in the market. Okay. And then they have to describe who has been doing what. So if the solution is not perfect yet, and we want to improve on that, so we already have allies, the people who are working on similar solutions. So we can work together with them to improve the solution. And then after that, then the fourth question is on their solution. So now the students would have to explain that their design, so how they can use certain product or certain service. And by the consumption of these product or services, that we can solve the problem. After that, then we'll ask them, so what's unique about the solution? So if the uniqueness, it can be the outreach, geographical outreach of their solution, or it can be the nature of the product or services or itself, or it can be the nature of the production process. So if there are 100% copy from what already exists in the solution landscape, they don't have the reason to exist. Right? So the reason for a creation of a new entity is that because the current entities are unable to solve the problems effectively. All right. So imagine that you copy a solution from Australia and you want to implement it in Vietnam. So your uniqueness is that your access to Vietnam's market. So you have some mechanisms to reach out to the Vietnamese beneficiaries, to Vietnamese customers. So definitely it's not the same as the exact solution as the source one from Australia, for example. All right, get the idea of what we ask students for. After that, then we'll ask for stakeholder engagement. Stakeholder engagement, so we ask them for their strategy, because no one can solve a problem alone. So they have to identify who they need to work with and how they can engage these people or organizations. So that could be for the development of the product or services. That could be the regulators. That could be for gaining access to customers and so on. So they must be able to identify the main stakeholders that can make or break the business. And then after that, they have to show us within 14 days what they're able to do. So 14 days, we know that it's not possible to do a lot. But after 14 days, and if they cannot get anyone to agree to anything or to contribute anything, then it's a big question mark for them to rethink about their solution. So in this program, we accept failure, but then what's important is what can we learn from the failure? So that's why the question of the learning curve. So if they present the solution and people all support it, oh yeah, it's great. I'm gonna refer you to this person or that person or organization, or I'm going to promote the solution for you. That's a good sign. But imagine after 14 days, everybody says no to the solution. Then that means, okay, they have to rethink of the reason why people don't support their solution. So is it because of the solution itself, or it is because of the wrong pitch? Because the bottom line of a social business is that you have to make profit. So in order to make profit, you have to make sales. And then the people have to adopt your solution. So a solution nice on paper is not a social business. So that's why we ask students to go out to the field to really talk to people to see who support their idea. So you get an overall of the questions we asked for this round. And now you go for the very detail. Then we have the criteria. And you see that we have the criteria for what they say, and we have criteria for what they show. Okay? So what they say is in the video, and what they show is the supporting documents. And so now the one-liner, so we have it even just for one-liner of around 15 words maximum. Do you know why we ask them to limit it within 15 words? Why? Any idea why?
Because because the staff will need must to focus directly to the purpose or the main goal of the project. In short word,
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we
why,
want them to focus, yes. But why 15 words? Why not 20? Why not like one paragraph? Yeah, because we like our projects, and so we tend to talk a lot. But we say no, you have to do it within 15 words.
Because the listener just have 1 or 2 minutes to recognize the value of the project only. Just the first few minutes.
Yeah,
No
Jay, yes, you are so good. Both you and Jay are correct. It's important to help people understand and memorize it right away, because otherwise they will forget. Because we are not important until we have proven that we are important. But now when we are at the early stage of pitching our project, because without our existence, life goes on, right? So then we introduce our solution, and we want them to, hey, stop, listen to what I'm about to tell you in details. So 15 words is, you look at the a fraction of the second. So imagine you go to a supermarket, you buy a product. How many seconds do you have to make a decision whether to look further, to look closer to the product? Just a fraction of a second, right? And research shows that human beings now have a span of attention with shorter than a span of attention of a goldfish. And we are now in attention economy. Everywhere we go, everything around us just asks for attention. And so actually 15 words is like the 3 seconds, 3 second max. So every 3 seconds we need to refresh. So again, now listen to me again, listen to me again, listen to me again. So 15 words is the maximum cognitive capacity for people to remember at one go. Okay? Once people are hugely interested, they listen again, and then they can remember. But if you ask people to remember at one go, just say it and ask people to refer you to someone else to repeat what you say. 15 words is the maximum, the limit. Yeah. So catchy, concise, direct statements is very, very important. And then, so that's with, so we ask the students here, you just look within the 15 words. And then after that, we'll want to make sure that those 15 words are powerful in their own community. So that's why we say, how do they test those 15 words with their community, right? So those 15 words can be interesting to us, but may not be to their community or the other way around. So they have to show us evidence that people really promote that the business for them. And then the one-liner is really a product of a good testing. So they have tested out with people, make sure that people can memorize it, and then they give feedback on how to really improve and really align the one-liner with the actual business. And then after that, for the UN goal, so we want them to show us that they understand the UN goal, and then they have a vision. The vision is very important because it gives the stakeholders, the listeners, an idea of the kind of impact this project will create if everything goes right. So the vision has to show, measure something that can be measurable. And so it's go with the UN goal. If you say that you are going to reduce poverty, so then your vision has to show that how many people are you going to lift out of poverty. Vision is the expected results that you will get if everything goes right. And then your mission is your tools. It's like your GPS. So if you look at the vision as your destination, the mission is like a GPS. How you get to your vision. So the methodology you use, that is your mission. Okay. So for example, you say you help people out of poverty by giving them education. So out of poverty, and then say you are going to have how many people or what community out of poverty, that is your end result. But then your tool you use, that you are going to provide them with education, or you're going to provide them with jobs, or you are going to help matching them to the resource providers and so on. So that explains your methodology, how you achieve the results, right? And after that, we want them to show the evidence. Evidence here that when they declare the UN goal, the project, you have to believe that their project is going to achieve the results as they declare. So otherwise it would be just something nice on paper. And they have to give the good examples. The example has to be specific and convincing. So how they are going to help people out of poverty. So they have to give, so if they say education, but what kind of education? So they have to explain a little bit of the journey of the beneficiary, how they will get out of poverty. So that is for the UN goal. You get it so far? The criteria? Okay. And then for ESG, now for the target issue, we want them to really understand the scale and scope of the problem. So we need a good number, punches. So the scale, it's on the how serious the problem is, and then the scope is how many people are affected by the problem, and then they know exactly who are affected, and then the information they present is relevant to the community. Because in the past, we saw projects from Vietnam, they only cite statistics from the United States. So that information is not really relevant to the community where they want to create the impact. So they have to present the information that is relevant to the place where they want to create the impact when they describe the problem. And then after that, we look at the evidence to say when they come up with those numbers, what statistics that they use, what kind of interviews they have conducted to get to that information, or what they observe, and so on. And then they have to cite the sources of information. We don't want an imaginative presentation. So the information has to be real. It comes from good sources, believable. So you have to make it believable for us. And then when they explain the root cause, of course, the articulation has to be clear and concise. And then they have to explain the path. So the why do we see the symptoms? So for example, we say that, go back to my example earlier about the pain around this area. And we say that, yeah, you have wisdom teeth, that the root cause of the problem. So it's gonna make a rupture in your tissue, and so why it gives you pain. But that pain will be over once it's healed. The rupture is healed when the wisdom teeth is out. So it will be healed. You get it so far? So the students have to explain that the path between the root cause and the problem. So if they treat the root cause, then the problem will disappear. And then again, we want them to explain the root cause with a really deep analysis, the thought. They give a good thought about that. And then when they talk about the solution, so they have to show who else are doing what they are doing to solve the problem, and what are the pros and cons. So what's good or what's bad about the other people's or organization's solution. And then we want to look at the thoroughness of the analysis. And then again, we look at, say, is it just something that lip service, or it really comes from reputable sources of information? And you see, for all of the questions, we ask, yes, that you agree that the information is, the statement is correct, perhaps that you still have doubt. When no, say, when you say that, no, I don't believe that you have done this task correctly. Okay. And then next questions is on their own solution. So they have to explain it in a way that easy for us to understand what they want to do, and the kind of impact they create, and how the impacts are created. That means the mechanisms. And then they have to tell us the kind of risks that come with their solution. And then they have to show us evidence that's feasible. And then any reference about their solution, it has to come from reputable sources. And then when they talk about their uniqueness, so first of all, has some level of newness in the community. So we don't ask for the newness globally. So it has to be something new for the community where they are going to execute the solution. And then the approach to the problem has to be relatively new. It doesn't have to be completely new. And then it has to clearly improve on what already exists. And then they can give evidence through the videos of their products, services, image of their services, and in comparison with others. And then they have to show evidence that in the community really give them insight into building the solution. So the solution is not something just imaginary. After that, the stakeholder, so they should identify the stakeholders and understand what they want. And then they have to understand the reason why people would support or reject their work or their solution, or working with them. And they should show us a good communication strategy to engage those people. Again, the evidence, so this is what we ask for when in the video, and this is what we look for in the evidence. And the campaign and then the learning curve. So now let's do together one example before I break you into break room to do an exercise in a class. So now please go to your evaluation form. So let me put again in the chat, the evaluation form. So when you do your work, so you need to fill your name here, your email, and then you choose the project that you are going to evaluate. Which material, Jay? Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Okay. This
I put it
this
in the chat, the
materials you're
evaluation
showing on
form.
the screen. Yes.
Are you seeing this, my screen still?
Yes, I can see it. But my question is, after our today's activity, will this be available online, or
Yes.
I'll just access SBC?
Yeah. So after today, I will send you the recording of the
Okay.
sessions. Okay. Because then you can
Thank you.
refer back to our discussion. What is considered what grade? So we will now do a mock-up evaluation together. So let's go with best thrift as an example. I give 3 examples here. So now I will do together with you for best thrift. After that, we will go to breakout room, and then you will evaluate the ONT, and the purple is your qualifying test. All right. So now let's go together. So everybody, you are on the platform now. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So please give me a feedback, right? So now you click on best thrift. So you see the presentation of the project. So when you become a real judge, you will see a page like this, but of course with the list of the projects for this year. So these are just the 3 projects for our mock-up evaluation. But then when you click on the link, you will be brought to the presentation by the students. So you see that this is their pitch online. So they have a combination of text and videos and then the evidence. So you see the evidence they put here. Some students may want to give you confidential information. And if there are confidential information, I will send you the link to that confidential information. But this project, they have everything public. So now you would see the pitch of 10 minutes, and then you will see the evidence that the students submit here. All right. So what we are going to grade is that we'll grade both on the videos and on the evidence. So let's watch together. So please let me know if you can hear it, or if not, I will have to check the sound.
Hello there, I'm Isa, and I am the lab leader of the startup Best Thrifts.
So do you all hear well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, if you don't hear well, you can click it on the link as I show you to hear it from your side. So now what we are going to do is all of us will watch the 10 minutes presentation. All right. And after that, I will go together with you point by point how you can give the grade. All right. Good. All right.
Good.
Now let's watch together the 10 minutes presentation incomplete.
Hello there, I'm Isa, and I am the lab leader of the startup Best Thrifts. Our social mantra is fashion forward, upcycling and repurposing textile waste towards a sustainable future for fashion. It all started in 2019 when I decided to create a page on Instagram called Best Thrifts and started to buy imported secondhand clothes in bulk. Best Thrifts grew really quickly at this time, gaining 500 to 1,000 new followers per month. Unfortunately, as things started to open up again, I became busier and had to focus on my academic responsibilities. Best Thrifts' journey came to an end in early 2021. Now with the whole team, we're ready for a comeback, but this time bigger and better. Before I introduce you to our new plans, let's talk about the problem first. Did you know that 3 in 10 Filipinos have thrown away clothes after using them just once? Consumerism and the fast fashion industry have led to a culture of disposable clothing, where clothes are often poor quality, made with cheap materials, and discarded after a short period of use. The average person now buys 60% more clothing than they did 5 years ago, but only keeps them for half as long. The Philippines generates approximately 1.4 million tons of textile waste annually, with a projected growth rate of 5%. Only 25% of these wastes are recycled, while the remaining 75% is either incinerated, disposed in landfills, or illegally dumped. Furthermore, the fashion industry is associated with unethical labor practices, including low wages, poor working conditions, and exploitation of workers in low-wage countries such as the Philippines. Globally, there is a growing interest in sustainable fashion. A survey by McKinsey & Company reports that 75% of consumers have changed their behavior towards sustainable fashion since the pandemic. Additionally, the global market for sustainable fashion is projected to reach $9.81 billion by 2025. However, sustainable fashion remains to be not so accessible here in the Philippines. A Reformation t-shirt costs 2,300 pesos before shipping, while a similar t-shirt from Uniqlo costs only 590 pesos. That's 74% cheaper than the sustainable alternative. According to a survey conducted by the Global Web Index in 2020, only 20% of Filipino consumers are willing to pay more for sustainable products. While there are some existing solutions, malls in the Philippines are filled with conventional fast fashion brands. Local sustainable fashion brands are mostly small businesses that can only be found online or in a pop-up basis. And our local thrift stores are typically located in nooks with no proper infrastructure, and browsing for items in these places are not so efficient. So while there may be some competition, most face challenges in scaling up and reaching a wider audience. There are still many gaps to fill in the sustainable fashion space here in the Philippines. This is where we come in. So our mission is to reduce textile waste and promote circularity in fashion through repurposing and upcycling, and empower local communities through job opportunities and skills development programs. Our vision is to be at the forefront of sustainable fashion, driving positive change, innovation, and conscious consumption for a future where fashion benefits people and the planet. So textile waste refers to any unwanted material or product made from textiles that is either discarded, recycled, or reused. This also includes post-consumer waste, such as used clothing or home textiles, as well as fabric scraps, dead stock fabric, also known as end-of-roll materials, and unsold inventory. Our first solution entails the use of these textile wastes. So first, we have secondhand clothing. Typically, thrift stores accumulate inventory through clothing donations from their locals. In the Philippines, though, things are quite different. It is not common practice here to go to a thrift store to donate your old clothes. As a matter of fact, most of the inventory found in our thrift stores are imported second-hand clothes from other countries. The US, for example, exports roughly 700,000 tons of used clothing to other countries annually. There is such an excessive supply of these imported goods, yet barely any outlets for locals to donate their clothes. We plan to incorporate both by accepting donations and buying wholesales of secondhand clothing. So the garments that are still in great condition and on trend will be sold as is. That is our first product. Our second line of products will be upcycled clothing. These garments will be made from these secondhand clothes that do not meet our standards to be resold. Our garments will also be made from other textiles such as dead stock fabrics and unwanted home textiles, such as cotton tablecloths, curtains, and the like. Inevitably, during the upcycling process, there is going to be some leftover scrap fabric from the cutting and redesigning process. This leads us to our final product, our zero waste line, which will be made from these scraps through fabric manipulation. Our second solution is to implement circular economy models. These circular approaches aim to minimize waste, maximize resource utilization, and promote positive behavioral change on consumption patterns. We plan to implement a donation program that accepts most types of textiles and all types of clothing. To complement this, we will also be implementing a loyalty and rewards program that aims to motivate our customers by allowing them to earn points every time they donate their clothes, unwanted textiles, make any purchases from the store, and donate their Best Thrifts product back to us for recycling once they are ready to let go of them. Best Thrifts will also offer alterations and upcycling services for customers. When you're shopping for secondhand clothing, not everything that you like is going to be in your size. Offering alterations solves this problem by allowing customers to have their desired items tailored to fit them. Custom orders will also be available, which will be made from our sustainably sourced selection of materials, like dead stock fabric, for example. Additionally, they can also opt to bring in their old garments or textiles to be upcycled into their desired designs. allowing customers to have unique and personalized products. The next solutions work in synergy to create sustainable livelihoods by providing employment opportunities, enhancing skills, and promoting ethical labor practices. This contributes to the startup social responsibility, promotion of economic growth with social impact, and the promotion of sustainable practices in the industry. Best Thrifts will provide opportunities to its local members, including those from marginalized and disadvantaged backgrounds, provided that they are able to go through our training. We plan to implement a training program for sewing lessons, which will allow trainees to intern for the business and eventually work as an employee upon completion. This program aims to empower individuals and promote skill development in the local community. This training program will be free for applicants who meet certain criteria. Finally, we'll be implementing ethical labor practices. This solution is not something new, but it is definitely an essential part of being a social venture. It emphasizes the importance of promoting ethical labor practices, including fair wages, safe working conditions, and workers' rights. Best Thrifts aligns its business practices with at least 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These being SDG 8 by providing job opportunities to locals and promoting decent work and economic growth in the communities they operate in. SDG 9 by promoting innovation in the fashion industry through our sustainable sourcing and production, while also reducing the need for new resources and infrastructure. SDG 12, through our circular economy models that promote conscious consumerism and commitment to fair trade practices and ethical working conditions. SDG 13, by creating new garments through reusing and repurposing existing resources and reducing textile waste. SDG 17, through collaborations with local organizations, NGOs, and government agencies, as well as local communities and Filipino stakeholders to promote sustainable practices in the fashion industry, create a positive impact on society and the environment, and achieve the SDG. So our business model entails a combination of circular economy principles, a localized focus, and holistic approach. The integration of thrift shopping, upcycling, and skills development, along with a deep understanding of the local market and social issues, may require unique expertise, partnerships, and operational capabilities, making it challenging for others to replicate the exact model without significant effort and investment. That being said, we recognize that we can't achieve all these goals on our own. Our stakeholders include our customers, employees, local communities, suppliers and partners, investors, and government agencies. In today's world of information and technology, the best entry points would be to establish a strong social media presence through content creation. This provides our stakeholders a sense of what the business is all about and if it aligns with their goals as well. Previously, following a similar engagement strategy, this is what Best Thrifts back in 2019 was able to achieve. We sold more than 200 garments, and here are some photos of my customers as well as their testimonies. I will be uploading more examples of these to the platform in our lab's group page. We also received recognition from Sunstar, the biggest news outlet in Cebu, multiple times.
A Best Thrifts girl boss, Isa Neri, who invites everyone to build an ethical, sustainable wardrobe with Best Thrift.
For my reworked pizzas, I partnered up with SoFit Upcycling and Alterations to produce more volumes of these pizzas. Ultimately, our success will depend on a variety of factors, such as the effectiveness of our marketing and outreach efforts, the quality and desirability of our products, the efficiency of our operations, and the overall reception of our brand by our stakeholders. While we do believe in our social solution and goals, our success will require careful planning, execution, and adaptation to the evolving needs and preferences of our stakeholders. I'd like to end this video with a quote by Confucius. The man who moved the mountain begins by carrying away small stones. Hello there, I'm Isa.
All right, so now you got an overview of the project. So let's grade it together. So first of all, let me make it side by side. So let's do it together, okay? So let's do it. So name, email, this one, and we choose the project. Evaluate is best thrift. Okay. So now first of all, the one-liner. So you already watch it and the student gave a one-liner.
Them just once. In early 2019, when I decided to create a page at I'm gaining in early 2021. Now with the whole team, we're ready for a comeback, but this time Filipino consumerism and the industry have led to a culture of disposable. Leader of these. Our social mantra is fashion forward, upcycling and repurposing.
So now you see the mantra, they say fashion forward, upcycling and repurposing textile waste. Okay, and here, this one.
Textile.
Toward a sustainable future for fashion. So now, what grade would you give for this mantra? First of all, do you see that the intended social environmental impact? Now you have only three options, whether you say no, perhaps, or yes. So do you see what kind of impact from this one liner? Fashion forward, upcycling, and
Yes.
repurposing.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So we just
Yes.
say yes, fast, right? So now do you see it, the unique innovation? Do you see the highlight? What kind of innovation do you see from this one? Just by listening to that one liner. Is that any different? So innovation, it has to be something different, something improved from existing solutions, right? So do you see any innovation here?
Yes. Upcycling and repurposing.
Yeah, so upcycling and repurposing is what they do to create impacts. Yeah, but then, so some of the judges, so that would be between 1 or 2. Some may say, yeah, I see it's an innovation in my context because in my community, no one has done upcycling or repurposing clothes. So then it is already innovation. All right. So imagine that you are in this. So this may not be new in like in Canada, but it could be new in Philippines. So if you are just in the Philippines, you can say that it is new if you know about the environment. So if you're not sure, you say perhaps. Okay. So when you say no, that means that you don't see it at all. So there is no innovation whatsoever in what they do, then it will be no. And if perhaps let's say that we are not sure, but it could be something new. Again, I say innovation doesn't have to be innovation globally. They can copy an idea or innovation from another place and apply it in their community. The problem we see in this presentation is that she doesn't present for us the information to know whether in Philippines they do upcycling or repurposing or not, right? So that could be the perhaps.
Perhaps.
Yeah, but then Jam, you are from Philippines, you know that in this area no one else has done it, so there is something new. Then you could have it as 2 here. So let's make it perhaps, okay? And then, so is it catchy and is it memorable? If it is memorable, that means you don't have to look at the word and you can still remember what they say. Right?
I
so
think yes.
okay. So that then you could give like catchy, memorable is 2 here, and then evidence. So first of all, that this one that they came up with this slogan, and they got feedback from stakeholder and people would help them improve this. So look at the evidence here. The evidence she presents here is like she has got the people to buy her clothes, and then she got cover in the newspaper. But and then in the newspaper, and then partnerships, and then the reference, how she got information about the problems there. So then we don't know how she came up with the slogan, right? We don't know the kind of feedback, so that would be no there. And then is this business or slogan shared by others? So no evidence, except for this the news piece. So some of the difficult judges that would say, no, I don't see the direct sharing of this one-liner. So that could give a 0. But some other judges say, well, we can stretch it and say that if a newspaper covers the business, so it could be that understood that the mission is promoted by some stakeholder, like important as newspaper. And now we talk about the contribution to UN goal. So now we want to look at if she understands the UN goals. So she had the part where she talked about the UN goal.
Those from marginalized community. This training program
Yes,
makes the
yes.
importance of workers' rights. Best Thrifts aligns its business practices with at least 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These being SDG 8 by providing job opportunities to locals and promoting decent work and economic growth in the communities they operate in. SDG 9 by promoting innovation in the fashion industry through our sustainable sourcing and production, while also reducing the need for new resources and infrastructure. SDG 12, through our circular economy models that promote conscious consumerism and commitment to fair trade practices and ethical working conditions. SDG 13, by creating new garments through reusing and repurposing existing resources and reducing textile waste. SDG 17, through collaborations with local organizations, NGOs, and government agencies, as well as local communities and Filipino stakeholders to promote sustainable practices in the fashion industry, create a positive impact on society and the environment, and achieve the SDG. So our business model.
Okay, so now she declared that her business will achieve 5 UN goals. And she explained that what she does for each one of this. So now your evaluation on this. So does she understand the UN goals? Yes or no? Yes. But now look at the vision is well linked to the UN goals. So if we look at the vision statement, mission and vision statements, she has it here.
75%, except 81. According to online, there may be some competition and promote circular.
So now mission is to reduce textile waste, promote circularity in fashion through repurposing, upcycling, empower local community and skill development programs. So are they directly linked to all of the 5 that she mentioned? Here we look at the linkages. So what she wants to achieve, and then so she clearly understands the UN goals. And now how is it well linked with her business? So if she sells clothes, you look at the business is to, she will buy imported clothes and she accept donation, right? And then good clothes, she sell right away, and not so good clothes, she will upcycle that. And now do you think that it's gonna solve the problems according to the UN goal? So does it, by doing this, will it reduce textile waste or not? So here you see that she want to say reduce textile waste, more circularity, empower community. And now you go to the UN goal that she has. So how can we measure the
and its business practices with at least 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These being SDG 8 by providing job opportunities to locals and promote.
Okay, now she said that she provides job opportunity to locals. So by this business, do you think that she can really provide jobs for local? How many jobs can she provide to really develop the to help develop the economy with her business model? Is it the main strength of her business? So Elsa, what do you think? So how many people can she employ? Is it in the thousands or in 2, 3, 4, 5 people? Or how will it work?
I think 5 people maximum, maybe 10.
All right. So that, yeah, you see, but this one, so her statement is way too big. So she understands that giving decent work and economic growth, but then if you look at the impact, what is linked, it's not really. So even her business, if she's hugely successful, then she will have the a big store which is resell imported goods, imported clothes. And now for repurposing, so then depending on the volume, if she is very successful, then we can look at the number of people she can employ like a factory. So, but then it's still very minimal, right? So probably 5 to 10 people, but it's not going to really solve the problem of work opportunity. If you can give opportunity to only a few people, it will not make a change, a systematic change. So this UN Goal 8 cannot be achieved with her business. Okay, so now we go to the next one. It's about the decent
Economic growth in the communities they operate in. SDG 9, by promoting innovation.
So innovation, industry and infrastructure. This now
Fashion industry through our sustainable sourcing and production, while also reducing the need for new resources and
so this is always also is very big statement that cannot be achieved. Right, so she talk about the new resources and yeah, and it's not really the main goal of the business. So number 9 cannot be achieved.
infrastructure. SDG 12, through our circular economy models that promote
Prof, can I
tourism
comment?
and commitment to fair trade practices and ethical working conditions.
So she talked about ethical working conditions, and we don't know what kind of factory she will create, right? So so this one, we don't know whether it will be possible to do this. So responsible consumption. So by using her clothes, do you think that the consumption is more responsible by using her imported clothes? Not
No.
really,
No.
right? So it's not really. So by buying her clothes, I don't think that it really promotes the ethical consumptions. So usually people buy clothes because it fits them well. So they don't buy it because it is more responsible by just buying the imported clothes when we don't know what materials that is. And then if we look at the
conscious consumerism and commitment to fair trade practices and ethical working conditions. SDG 13, by creating new garments through reusing and repurposing existing resources and reducing textile waste. SDG 17, through
yeah, so for the climate action, that could be the case, because now instead of using new resources, so to make clothes, so she just recycle and upcycle the existing. So it will help us, our planet, to not use new material, not to extract new material. So it might be possible for the climate action. But 17 will be way too.
Through reusing and repurposing existing resources and reducing textile waste. SDG 17, through collaborations with local organizations, NGOs, and government agencies, as well as local communities and Filipino stakeholders to promote sustainable practices in the fashion industry, create a positive impact on society and the environment.
So do you think that her business is going to promote partnership? No, she's not going, she collaborate with others, but her work is not going to help organizations to partner with each other. So most of what she said here, she understands the UN goal, but there is not a clear link between her business and the UN goals. that she explained, except for goal number 13. So that's why the grade, what grade would you give here for the vision? Is it not very well linked, right? So it's no. And the mission, it's not strategically with the vision, or it is perhaps, or yes. What's your answer? So her vision is not really linked with the UN goal, but now her vision is to reduce textile waste. So let's go back to her declaration. Yeah, so she wants to reduce textile waste. So what would be your answer for this? What do you give? You give what grade here?
I think yes.
Yeah, so the mission, so the vision she wants to, so now look at what she wants to do. So she sells imported clothes. If they are of good quality, she sells the clothes as is. If they are not good quality, she's going to fix it, to repurpose it, so reuse the materials to make new clothes. So she could resize it or make other products with the same cloth. So then by doing that, will she be able to reduce the textile waste? Yes or no? Yeah.
I think yes.
Okay. So now fieldwork evidence. So now do you think that it's possible to get some measurable results? So from her evidence here. So does she have any potential that she could be able to recycle the product or sell the products? Now, so now we look at the evidence she provides. So do you think that it's possible for her to sell the her product, the clothes that she repurposes? By looking at these evidence, do you believe that it's possible?
Yes.
Yes, agree. Yeah, because she already has customers, that the customer wears her clothes, and she got some news here to talk about her project. And she already got some partnerships with the schools to teach how to sew. And now, so do you think that the impact she has created is specific enough? All right. So there, yes. So it's the example is here that we really see. She said to see only sold 200 clothes. It's not huge, but at least it gives some potentials. Yeah, and if she can really sell clothes in the number of thousands and tons, as she cited the number as 700,000 tons of clothes exported to Philippines annually, and now she's been able to start doing this. So in the future, if everything she does correctly, it will be possible to reduce waste. And now we will go to ESG. First of all, so does she understand the scale and scope of the problem in Philippines, where she create the project? So now look at.
Yes, I think yes.
Either incinerated, disposed in landfills.
Yeah, so you see that the information she gives here, it's very concrete, specific on the volume of the textile waste that Philippines has to treat. So this one, the answer we give is the scale and the scope, yes. And does she know that who are affected by this when the textile is wasted? So when it's burned, it's put in a landfill or illegally dumped.
Furthermore, the fashion.
So do you know who will be affected by this? Does she give information who is affected?
No. Yes.
Who? If you say yes, which is who? So is it the farmers? Is it the what kind of people or in the community, or who specifically do you know who are affected? We know that these clothes, if they are not used, they are burned, or they are put in the landfill, or they are illegally dumped. But if they are burned, who are affected by the burning of clothes? We don't know. If they are put in the landfill, who are affected? She doesn't tell, right? So we don't know how many people are affected and who are these people. So actually, that's no information on the stakeholder who are affected. Okay, so it's 0. And then the information is relevant to the community. That is really society information from the Philippines. So it's 2. Now, fieldwork. So does her information come from good sources? So she gives the information here, and she gives statistics, and then here in the information she talk about the waste, global waste, and then she gives information, the citations here. So if you look at the study she has looked at, so understanding what is ethical fashion, new textile economy, and then this on Vogue, and then Department of Natural Resources. This, so the information, yes, it's not that she imagined these information, so we could give this. However, are they from reputable sources? If you look, most of these are, so this is a book, IG is a book, and this is a news. This is from a foundation. That is, Vogue is also important in fashion. Yeah, but then here we don't have the scientific publication. So mostly it's just news piece and some foundation. So then then we could give here, it's perhaps. And now if you look at the root cause, so now she explained that why we have this kind of waste problem. Why do people throw away? So she said in Philippines, 3 out of 10 people.
Let's talk about the problem first. Did you know that 3 in 10 Filipinos have thrown away clothes after using them just once?
Right, so that is the symptoms. So people just throw away. So look at the amount of waste is a lot. And she explained that the root cause is that is cheap, a lot cheaper to buy. Thank you, Jam. Yes.
Accessible here in the Philippines. A Reformation t-shirt costs 2,300 pesos before shipping, while a similar t-shirt from Uniqlo costs only 590 pesos. That's 74% cheaper than the sustainable alternative. According to a
So the root cause here is because fast fashion is way cheaper. So people would just throw away if they don't like the clothes, they throw it away, right? So now, what grade would you give when you talk about the root cause? Yeah, then it should be yes. So the root cause and the symptoms.
survey conducted by the Global Web Index in 2020, only 20% of Filipino consumers are willing to pay more for sustainable products. While there are some existing solutions, malls in the Philippines are filled with conventional fast fashion brands. Local sustainable fashion brands are mostly small businesses that can only be found online or on a pop-up basis. And our local thrift stores are typically located in nooks with no proper infrastructure, and browsing for items in these places are not so efficient. So while there may be some competition, most face challenges in scaling up and reaching a wider audience. There are still many gaps to fill in the sustainable fashion space.
All right, so now we should explain the root cause. So it's because it's cheap to buy new clothes, and then the cheap clothes are sold in a nice venue, and where sustainable clothes, those who sell sustainable clothes are not effective, and they are also expensive. So then we could give between perhaps or yes, but the information she gives is still very shallow. So we don't see clearly the path, but we know there's a connection. It's a price, a question of price and for the demand. But the analysis is not that yet very deep. And you look at the evidence. So she cited even in her page and also the publication she gives here. So that will be the yes to here and reputable sources. And now looking at the solution landscape, does she talk about other organizations that is trying to reduce waste?
May, just one question, please, before we
Yes.
go on forward. In the case of in this case, if the population doesn't have enough monthly income to buy a good T-shirt or sock or whatever, is it a fact that you are not? Is it that things need to be cheap, or is it that because your monthly income is not enough to have a good product for a long term? Because if I buy a good T-shirt and it can be used for, I don't know, a year, but it's more expensive, then I would be able to buy it. But if my monthly income doesn't permit me to buy a good T-shirt, at the end of the year, probably I will spend more money buying bad T-shirts every month instead of one good T-shirt. So perhaps the problem is that we are used to change clothes or la moda, the fashion, and not thinking about the use of the T-shirt. So I think in this case, or in most of these cases, we have similar here in Peru, is that our culture is used to have short fashion clothes instead of good clothes.
Yeah. So it's a very good question you raised. So if people are don't have the good budget to buy more expensive clothes, then they would not throw away the clothes, right?
Yeah.
So then
that's it.
when they throw away clothes, that means that they are able to buy more clothes. So instead of buying one piece, they would buy 3-4 pieces and throw and use only one and throw the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
her explanation here is that it's just more convenient. So if they go to stores, it's so easy to buy fast fashion clothes, cheaper, more convenient, and so that's why people are buying the fast fashion clothes. So she didn't mention the problem about the poverty or income level that doesn't allow people to buy more expensive clothes. So because every reality is different. So when we grade the students, so that's why when we assign judges, we want to assign at least one judge from the same country so that they understand the reality. For example, Jay and Jam from Philippines. So when they look at the reference, so they know which references are from the government that will be more reputable. And so, for example, when we talk about innovation, so upcycling, it may be an innovation in the Philippines. It's not an innovation here because so many people are doing it already. But there in the Philippines, it could be an innovation. You see, so different judges could give very different evaluation. So that's why we will come to the part here as the comments at the end, how the student could improve the project. So we as judges, we also admit our limitation in the knowledge. So we base on what the student present to us. And then as if they want to scale the project globally, so they have to do it effectively in the community first, and then they can scale it globally. And at least they have to present enough information for judges to know. For example, in this one, if they just insert one statement, so in Philippines, people don't upcycle their clothes. So then we will understand it's an innovation. So because here she doesn't give that information. So only the judges that are in the Philippines can tell. And us, we don't know. So that's why when we give a grade, we say, yeah, I don't know. So I just give this, I give perhaps.
Okay, thank you. That's
yeah, all right. So it is the
you.
job of the students to make the judge understand that it is a innovation. Okay.
Great, thank you.
So we go back. We were at the we were talking about the analysis, the solution landscape. She didn't talk about any of the companies that are working on this. So even though Jay gave an example of the solutions that are being implemented in the Philippines, but she doesn't talk about other solutions. She only talk about her solution. So this one would be 0. So no for the range of solution. And here, so she really doesn't talk about her solution landscape at all. So that would be 0 for all of this. And when we look at the evidence, she doesn't tell about any other organizations that have solved the problem, or even similar to her or related to the problem of textile waste. And now talking about her solution. So it is easy to understand that yes, we know that what she does, mechanism to create the impact. Here, the impact is just to reduce the textile waste. So what she do is just to sell more. So the more clothes she sell, that will be the more clothes treated. So instead of going directly to the landfill or to be burned or to illegally dump, it's go through her process. The analysis is not really thorough though. And then the feasibility, yes, we know it's possible that she is able to do the work. So it's 2 and 2 here. But now we look at the uniqueness. Is it new here in the community? We really don't really know. So some judges would say no, because no information. Some judges could give, yeah, maybe is perhaps. And then clearly improve upon existing solutions. So we don't know what are the existing solutions. So it's 0 here. So it's a 0 here. And comparison with solution provided by others. So no information. It's also a 0. Engagement with community members to gather their insights. So how does she know what clothes will sell well? We don't know. So we only have the example of her customers. So it's also a no here for the solution landscape. And now if you look at the stakeholder engagement, she only mentioned the stakeholders that she has to work with. And then she said that what she does is to raise awareness through what she did successfully in 19 and 21.
They will require unique expertise, partnerships, and operational capabilities, making it challenging for others to replicate the exact model without significant effort and investment. That being said, we recognize that we can't achieve all these goals on our own. Our stakeholders include our customers, employees, local communities, suppliers and partners, investors, and government agencies. In today's world of information and technology, the best entry points would be to establish a strong social media presence through content creation. This provides our stakeholders a sense of what the business is all about and if it aligns with their goals as well. Previously, following a similar engagement strategy, this is what Best Thrifts back in 2019 was able to achieve. We sold more than 200 garments, and here are some photos of my customers as well as their testimonies. I will be uploading more examples of these to the platform in our lab's group page. We also received recognition from Sunstar, the biggest news.
Okay, so you see what she does. She focuses on only social media presence. But then by doing that, do you think that it will solve the issues? Yeah, Jay, you have a good point there. So then our evaluation for the key stakeholder. So does she know what the customers want? Does she know what the government want? Does she know? So she only have a list of the stakeholders, but she doesn't understand their need and expectation, right? So imagine she may create just new waste. So she repurpose clothes, but what if her clothes do not sell? So she just make waste. So it will be 0 here for the need and expectation understanding. It's 0. How and why they should engage with her, no information. Her communication strategy. it's only social media. Social media is not enough. So maybe perhaps, but it only stop at the very early stage. It's not going to help reduce textile waste. You are right, Cyril. It's unclear the target market. Who do they want to sell it to? Who are the customers? Are they young people, older people, people with high income level or low income level, or people who are sustainable, looking for sustainable solution or what? No, she doesn't give that information. So we don't have that information. So look at the engagement evidence. So perhaps because she just got some news piece there. Evident of effort to reach out to key stakeholder. Yes, she did something. We saw that, but it's not very strong. And we look at the campaign. So she did get some support. So that would be yes. But then the support from critical stakeholders, the critical stakeholders of your business have to be the customers. And then, she got these, a few customers that say they buy her clothes. But then here, just they got some, just some support. So some judges could give 2 and other would just say only 1, because there are many other stakeholders for that she mentioned as the people who will help her upcycle the clothes. So is she to work alone, or she's going to have other suppliers, subcontractors to work with her? And we don't have any information about that. And then, so if we look at the evidence of support pledge, yeah, we look here, we don't know whether it's credible. She said that these are her customers, but when we look, we don't know whether they are real customers or not. The only thing that we know for real is that the news piece here. So that will be 1. That will be 1 here too. Is it sufficient to build the basis for the social solution execution? It's still very weak. So she is good. So far, she said that she has got 1,000 followers per month. But then that's what she said in the pitch, but we don't see the evidence of the followers in her social media. So this one is not. And learning curve, she didn't talk about it at all. So it's 0 here. So now that is 49. And you know that in order to pass this round, student need to get 30 points. So this is definitely, yes, she passed it. But now if now the kind of comments you would give to her, so what would be the comment to help her improve the projects? What comments would you give? Yeah. Anyone to help her improve this? So anything that she's missing in her presentation, that all of the point that you give 0. How do you help the students to improve this project to make it better?
For me,
Make
Prof, I would suggest that 1, she has to be clear as to who is her target customers. And then 2nd, she has to show proof that her project has an impact, meaning probably some proof that she could actually collect X number of clothes by way of donation,
Yes.
right?
So show proof of
And 3rd, if she could also show that people are really buying from her, so
yes.
probably some proof of receipt of purchase, or what? Probably it's just a simple financial statement, right?
And okay, so what else do we Okay, so learn from other organization that are working to reduce textile waste. Okay, so we'll also have okay. Okay. Yeah. Think deeper about the UN goals and okay, and then so you could give yeah statistics on the impact and beneficiaries for buying imported second-hand clothes and repurposed clothes. Okay, yeah. So then, etc. So you see that you can give many more here. So then after that, you can hit click submit. So what will happen that you will also see a copy of your evaluation here. And then you will receive in the email right away the so now I will show you what you see after you hit the submit. Yeah, the email has arrived. So you will see it in your email, a copy of your evaluation. Right, so this one, so we are going to compile the evaluation by 2 judges and then create a report for the students. So far, everything is clear for you? Good demonstration.
Yes.
So we only have 15 minutes left, and I want you to practice with the so click on this one, and now you are going to work on trip nature. But because we don't have a lot of time left, so I want you to only evaluate its one-liner. Okay, so just practice answering this question. So I give you in breakout rooms to discuss for 10 minutes and come back with your evaluation of only the one-liner of this project, okay? So this project, the one-liner it's already there. We aim to become the first French-speaking platform for generative tourism in Quebec and the world. Okay, so let me bring you to breakout 10 minutes and just come back with your evaluation, all right? More breakout room. So I divide all of you into so we have 3 rooms. Room 1 will be in English, room 2 will be Spanish, and room 3 will be Vietnamese. So you can choose. Okay. So room 1 is in English, room 2 in Spanish, and room 3 in Vietnamese. So all the rooms are open. So please go to the room. Okay.
Chào mọi người.
Chào các anh chị nhé. Dạ.
Hello cả nhà.
Hôm nay mình vào muộn một chút, thế nên là không biết là cái đoạn ban đầu cô hướng dẫn cái gì nhỉ? Hướng dẫn tức là vẫn đánh giá một cái dự án như nào đúng không cả nhà?
Dạ, đoạn đầu thì cô đi qua cho mình
Đúng rồi chị
các
ạ.
cái
Có nghĩa là
ý
cô cho
đánh
một
giá.
cái ví dụ, của một cái dự án. Sau đó là
Vâng.
follow.
Chết rồi, mình còn chưa vào nhóm nào cả, chả biết là ở nhóm nào, còn chưa đăng ký xin vào làm case study của nhóm nào cơ.
Em chỉ có thấy màn hình của em không?
Ôi mọi người cẩn thận thế, đã
Très
làm luôn cái này rồi.
We aim to become the
Ai đang
first
xem?
French-speaking platform
Chị
for
Tuyết à?
regenerative tourism
Dạ,
in
em
Quebec
cũng
and the world.
nãy
We are here to reinvent
cô nói
the
chị
travel
thì
industry to build stronger
không biết là
communities
có
and
chị nào hỗ trợ
regenerate the
xem màn hình
ecosystems.
giúp em không biết sao mà
From
bên
B2B
em nó lại bị
consultations
chặt
to
á. Lúc em
B2C
vào
experiences,
lại
we are
lỗi 4 lại
creating
3
a new norm for the industry.
Our long-term vision. We want to change the way of doing tourism by promoting inclusiveness, regeneration, and collaboration. Có ai xem được nhỉ?
Dạ,
Mạng của em nó cứ chập chờn nên
actors
em
to
cũng
have
không ấy được.
conversations
Xe
and
cái
create
phần
solutions towards
giống như là cô
revitalizing the
cứ dẫn
environment
cách
and strengthening local
vào xong rồi
communities.
là đăng ký
We use
cốt nhóm
different
nào rồi là
tools
mở
for
video em
creative
loáng thoáng
change,
nghe thế.
from design thinking,
Dạ, dạ.
system
Em
change
cũng
strategies,
thấy
and
là
research.
And what about the travelers?
A regenerative way to experience the
Nên như
world.
anh Hiếu đi, anh
Because
Hiếu mà anh
traveling
Mạnh,
is
anh
more
Hiếu
than
rồi đi.
collecting pictures. Traveling is about emerging
Chưa hiểu
into
là
the
nhìn cái
culture
xem màn
and
hình
nature
cái
surrounding.
cái volume
To
mà
achieve change, we
cái
invite
hả đúng không?
travelers to experience the world in a
Cái mà
respectful way by providing them with
Dạ vâng,
information about
vâng.
their impacts on the environment and local communities.
Rồi
So
ai đang nói
tourism,
nhỉ?
if done right, can make a real difference. The World Tourism Organization has declared that this sector has the potential to contribute directly or indirectly to the all of the UN's Sustainable
Đúng rồi,
Development
cái
Goals.
cái câu thôi.
Therefore, our goal is to contribute to the United Nations Sustainable Development
Vâng.
Goals in a specific
Chị ơi, chị nói lại đi,
decent
em chưa
work
nghe thấy
and
cái gì,
economic
mạng của
growth,
em nó kém. Chị nói
responsible
lại cái phần chị
consumption
nói.
and production,
Dạ,
life
dạ.
below the
Trong,
water,
trong
life
trong
on
nhóm
land,
Zalo á,
and
em có gửi
partnership
lại cái
for
hình
the
chụp
goals.
là cái one
We
liner
see
của
both
cái dự án mà mình
positive
sẽ
and
tặng đánh
negative
giá đó. Mình
impacts
chỉ đánh
on
giá
the
duy nhất
tourism
cái câu đó thôi.
industry.
Within the tourism strength, we found that
Câu
tourism
của cái dự án
is
này
the
là
third
VM đấy, VM to
category of
become the
export
first
worldwide.
French-speaking
One job
platform
of 10
for
comes from
regenerative
tourism,
tourism in
and
Quebec
also
and
is a
the
transsectorial and
của
interdisciplinary industry.
báo chí của
But what
cái
about the
dự án này mà
negative
chính thuyết thì đang
impact?
xem trên màn hình
Let's talk about the
cái form đấy.
numbers. In
Nó có mấy
2019,
nhóm tiêu chí và
1.5 billion people travel. The tourism industry is responsible for emitting 11% of greenhouse gases globally, and 95% of tourists are concentrated only on 5% of the world's destination. In Canada, we lost 2,000
Anh chị nào
hectares
mở được
of
cái
forest
on
caused
chip
by
nature
tourism
không ạ?
development. These
Mở lên
impacts
để nghe.
contribute to negative
Dạ, dạ, em
effects
có gửi,
like
em
resource
có gửi cái hình
scarcity
đó trong
and
nhóm
ecosystem
Zalo á cô.
destruction,
Dạ, thời
lack
gian mình
of
ngắn lắm,
local
cho nên mình không có
communities
cần xem hết
development,
video
and
mà mình
loss
chỉ đánh
of
giá một cái câu duy nhất.
biodiversity.
In Quebec,
Cái câu
we can impact touristic
tổng
enterprises,
quan về dự án của bạn.
travelers,
Em có
local
share cái câu trong nhóm
communities,
Zalo
and the
cô Phương để có
environment.
thấy không?
We understand that tourism is a complex industry, involving many other industries like energy, transportation,
Cái này tôi có vào trong
hospitality,
tôi có vào trong cái chat
construction,
chat này
waste
luôn nhé.
management within the
dạ
private
dạ
and
cảm ơn
public
thầy
sector.
có phần chat tiếp đi.
Đây ạ, cái câu đây ạ. Vâng. Đấy ạ.
Therefore, it is important to take in
câu cho mình
consideration
vừa
that
gửi cho nhóm chat
system
đấy.
change
Nhóm chat
needs
của
a
Dung.
common ground for all the
Tức là cái
stakeholders
trong
involved.
trong nhóm
By reviewing the stakeholders from the UNWTO, we can find all the actors considered to be
Mình
included
sẽ đánh giá
as
xem cái câu đó
stakeholders
nó
in the
có diễn
tourism
đạt
industry.
rõ cái mục tiêu.
Nevertheless, we
tức là cái
found
câu
that
trong
two
nhóm
key
chat là we aim to
stakeholders are
become
not
the first
included,
French
which are
speaking
the community
platform đấy ạ.
and the environment.
Đúng rồi
Dạ
đấy ạ.
dạ đúng rồi.
Nhưng mà
Cái
vì
câu đấy
mình không
câu
có đầy đủ
By
cả,
approaching
mình không
our
có đầy đủ cả cái dự
stakeholders,
án của
we
họ thì
discovered
mình
the
đánh giá
gaps
mỗi
that
câu đấy không
create
thì kiểu gì nhỉ?
roadblocks for the
Có
entire
chứ ạ, mình
system
đánh
to
giá theo một
change.
tiêu chí mà bạn
These
trước bạn
gaps
share vừa rồi đấy ạ.
lead
Chính
to
cái form
negative
đấy.
impacts
Có
on the
6
environment
cái
and the
điểm gì
local
trong bao
communities.
mỗi cái
The
điểm bao
current
điểm đấy.
solution landscape is dominated by
Mình
sustainable
thấy màn hình
tourism
xe đúng không? Đây là
practices,
các cái tiêu
which
chí để mình
focus
đánh giá
on
cái câu này.
reducing negative impacts but do not bring positive impacts for the environment and local communities. It's about neutrality more than bringing positive impacts. These practices often
Thực ra cái câu đó nó
prioritize
cũng
serving the
khá là clear
tourism
đấy chứ.
industry rather than promoting the well-being.
Mà cái này nó lại không nói về tác động xã hội ha.
Đúng rồi, cái đấy thì có cái đấy. Thế nhưng mà cái
Dạ, nó có cái
criteria
intend social impact, nhưng mà dạ ở trong tiêu chí á, cô thì bước
vâng,
đầu tiên thì nó lại ghi là nó lại thiếu cái phần environmental impact, cho nên cái này mình cho 1 điểm được không?
Này mình thấy nó tới 17 từ.
No chứ hả?
Ta
Tại
yêu cầu
vì
tới 15 mà sau này tới 17 từ.
Cái đó mình có phải đếm chính xác 15 không?
Phải đếm chính xác đó cô. Quá một từ là nó bỏ luôn.
Chính xác ha. Dạ vậy là
Mình thấy
vậy là không được.
Hoặc là mình cho 1 điểm thôi, mình cho tiêu chí
Dạ.
thấp đi thôi và mình không cho
Vậy
nhiều
cái tiêu
hơn.
chí đầu là mình cho 1
nếu
điểm.
thừa ra thế thì mình cho per head thôi, cho 1 thôi.
1 thôi.
Vâng.
chắc là 1 thôi nhỉ? Dạ, là 1.
Unique brand seeking platform, mà kêu unique thì mình không biết có cái unique gì innovation ở đây không?
Cái này đúng là chưa thấy cái unique gì. Bởi
Đúng
vì
rồi, tại mình cũng không biết bên Canada họ đã có những cái platform gì đặc
cái
biệt.
tính social hồi nãy mấy anh chị mình cho mấy điểm sao mai thấy mấy cũng không thấy rõ luôn cái tính social của nó đây nè. Social và environment impact mình không thấy luôn.
Thấy nó
Chắc cái
Regenerative.
bấm vô cái phía đó là nó sổ điểm xuống á, là mình được chọn từ 0, 1, 2 ở trong trang web á.
có một cái trong nhóm Zalo có một cái link. Cái số 2 á. Rồi chắc số 2.
Để mình gửi lại trong chat, nó có cái trang này nè. Đó. Nó có cái link đó, bạn click vô cái link đó.
Bây giờ cô vô cái dự án số 2, vô dự án chính giữa, bấm vô cái chính giữa cái nó sổ cái mới cho mình.
Thấy cái để mình đánh giá được nó có unique hay không nó cũng khá là khó, tức là mình sẽ phải hiểu là với cái lĩnh vực đó và ở cái cộng đồng đó Nó đang có cái gì rồi? Tiến sự có giải pháp đặc trưng không?
Hồi nãy thấy cô cho là một á, perhaps nữa, tại vì sợ nó không hợp với chỗ mình, nhưng mà
En
có thể là hợp ở
Prénature,
khu của người ta.
we aim to become the first French-speaking platform for
Em cho nếu
regenerative
em so
tourism
với hôm
in
nay là đều
Quebec
một
and
hết.
the world. We are here to reinvent the travel industry to build stronger communities and regenerate the ecosystems. From B2B consultations to B2C experiences, we are creating a
Mọi người
new
có
norm
nghĩ về
for the
cái
industry.
social impact không ha?
Our
Hồi nãy chị có
long-term
cô nào
vision.
nói đó, giờ mình
We
nghe lại
want
mình
to
không biết
change
là
the way
đúng
of
là
doing tourism by promoting
có liên quan
inclusiveness,
gì đến
regeneration, and
17
collaboration.
mục tiêu.
We support tourism actors to have conversations and create solutions towards revitalizing the environment and strengthening local communities. We use different tools for creative change, from design thinking, system change strategies, and consulting. And what about the travelers? A regenerative way to experience the world, because traveling is more than collecting pictures. Traveling is about emerging into the culture and nature surrounded. To achieve change, we educate travelers to experience the world in a respectful way by providing them with full information about their impacts on the environment and local communities. So tourism, if done right, can make a real difference. The World Tourism Organization has declared that this sector has the potential to contribute directly or indirectly to all of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. Therefore, our goal is to contribute to the
Thank you
United
very much
Nations
for your
Sustainable Development.
discussion. So I'm eager to hear about your results in the room. So room one, what grade do you give and why? We evaluate only the one-liner. Yeah, room one, can you please share with us? Hello, room one. Cereal or jam or Thai.
Okay, room one, we agree at the score 3 out of 10.
No,
And-
how come it's so we will go one by one. So don't go there. So it's just so for the information presented in the pitch.
Yeah, the first one we rated perhaps with 1 because of the regenerative tourism. So the other
Okay.
part, we're not sure about.
Yeah. So first, regenerative tourism. So what kind of impact do you think it want to create for the society, for environment?
So actually for me, I do not know about this. So
Yeah.
I rate 0 at the beginning, but then when we watch the video for a few more minutes, then I understand what does it mean. Then I would rate it perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you are a generous judge. So a strict judge would just focus on the one-liner and say, yeah, a one-liner has a lot of words, but we don't know what kind of impact it is. So we know that it is the first platform, but being the first or second is not the impact. So we want the one-liner to communicate the impact. So we only know it's a regenerative. So depending on the just, if you are in the field, then you understand the word regenerative. So you could give the perhaps. And if you're not, then it's okay to give 0. And now, so the innovation. So do you think that they have the innovation in this one-liner?
We read it perhaps because the regenerative tourism is new to us.
Okay, good. And so is it
But
catchy and memorable?
We choose 1 as well because there are more than 15 words in the mantra.
Yeah. So
It's
they give a
not
lot
very
of
memorable.
they give a lot of grammar words for nothing.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so you're right. So it's not really catchy and it's not that memorable. So this one-liner is not really a effective one. So when you look at the fieldwork evidence that they provide, so do you think that this slogan comes from a good
No.
test? Nothing, right?
Yeah,
So
no evidence to.
no evidence. So they got 3 letters of support, so that 3 people that support this this business, so 3 organizations, and then she got her master thesis on this, and then 1 article, journal article to write about her. So we don't know how this slogan came about.
Yeah, so there's one question in my group is that when we mark these presentations, it's solely based on the presentation, or we have to look at the evidence below as well. Like we go into each of the link they provide, or
yeah. So that's why we say information presented in the pitch, and then the evidence.
Yeah, but what I mean is like when they provide evidence in the page, you have to click on each link to see what it is and just it, or we just like you just look at
So this is the problem of last year. We they only put the evidence without explanation. So this year we change it and we ask them, so they have to provide a document explaining here. Provide a document that lists all evidence and explains the purpose of each evidence according to the criteria. So that is new.
Okay.
So the one you evaluate on is from last year, and we didn't have this requirement. So with the feedback from the judge to say, well, we don't know where to find information, so they have to do the job for us. So they were asked this year, they have to provide, and then we look at the evidence as a validation to say what they say is true or not, or they just make it up. Yeah, but then we look at the documents, the list that they give. And then of course we'll have to look whether they tell us the truth or they lie. Okay. Yeah, so I agree with you that the evidence here has nothing to do with the one-liner. The evidence here serve other questions, but not this question at all. So I agree with you that for the intended impact, so you have to be in the field to know whether generative tourism give what kind of impact. But for most people, we don't know this word. So it's okay to give between either 0 or 1. And of course, if you don't give 2, then try to give the comments down here. So what you think ahead, you just write it there. So it will help them to structure their pitch again when they present for the next round. Because the next round, we ask this question again. So we want them to improve from what they come up with at the beginning of the competition. And then highlight the unique innovation. So it's okay to give between 0 or 1. Again, because this they say that they are the first in Quebec. So that means that it could be new in Quebec. But we're not in the field, so we cannot validate that. So some of the generous just could give perhaps. And then it's not, it's catchy and memorable. It's over 15 words, so you could give 0 here. And it's really not that very catchy. It's very generic. And then fieldwork evidence has nothing, so it's 0 on both of these.
Okay, so one quick question. If we comment on this one-line mantra and just like someone would just put their comment in the chat, they suggest another mantra for the business. So if the business, they use that as the fieldwork evidence in the next round, is that okay?
Yes. But it's not sufficient to say, oh, because they just told me last round to use this one, and then I'm going to use it. And then it's not, it is considered evidence, but it's not a strong evidence. Because in the end, they have to test it with their community.
Yes.
So it constitutes one evidence, but it's not strong evidence. It's still better than nothing.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So thank you very much. It's already 10:05. And so now the two here becomes your mock-up evaluation. So you can choose any of the two, whether you evaluate Purple, which is a project from Vietnam, and OTN is a project in Quebec. So you can choose to evaluate one of these. And you know, usually it takes between 30 minutes to an hour to evaluate a project. A very good or very bad project usually take a lot less time than an average. An average project will take you more time. But what's important is not just giving the grade, but what's important is really to give the comments here that can help them to improve. All right. So for every questions that you don't give maximum score, that means there is room for improvement. And then you can tell them that how, so why you didn't give them the good score. That's the minimum you could give. It's better if you could suggest to them how they can improve it. All right. So you should give them the comments that really help them move on, improve the project. So our objective is not to criticize them, but rather to tell them that, okay, you could have got better score by doing my as I suggest here. So the overall comment is a very important tool to help the teams move on. All right. And so the questions here are pretty clear and straightforward. All right. So I'm going to send you the recording of today and also last week for the case. But last week it was not that much because the purpose was for you to give me your draft so that I can respond. So I received so far 5 drafts. So you will get my comment today or tomorrow. And then you can develop that draft into a full case. Okay? And thank you very much. So today recording is important to help you do the mock-up evaluation.
Excuse me, Miss Mai.
Yes.
May I have a last question, please?
Yes.
So as our last homework, we do outline for our social project and send email to you.
The case, yes. Because
the case.
in order to write a case, you need to give me the draft. So then I will coach you develop from that draft that you send me.
Yes, we sent it to you and we did not get any response.
Yeah.
So we're not sure that you got it or not.
Okay, so I said I received only 5 and then I will respond. You get a response today or tomorrow at the latest for the draft.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay? Yeah,
thank you.
And so from now you can do the mock-up evaluation. So you know it takes about 30 minutes to an hour. So 10 minutes to watch the video and another 10 minutes to rewatch and to click on the evaluation, and then 10 minutes or so to write the comments. But then it may take you up to an hour to write the comments. All right. And then of course you can do it in English, or for the project in Vietnamese. In Vietnam, you can do it in Vietnamese. So later we will have projects that speak Spanish. Then you can write evaluation in Spanish. All right. So depending on where the project comes from, so you can write the evaluation. So of course you can write always in English. So if the project comes from Vietnam, then you can write your evaluation in Vietnamese. That makes it faster and easier for you, because the objective is communicate to the team how they can improve it. All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And tomorrow will be the global session where we'll meet with the students. So you're invited to join the students if you are available. And if not, I wait for your evaluation result. So if you pass, so I will assign you the real team to evaluate. Okay. So you know that the deadline for them to submit is midnight of 14 of May, midnight in Montreal time. And then your work will be for those who pass the qualifying test, your work will be between the 15 and 17. So you have those 3 days to evaluate the 3 projects. Right? So the due date for your mock-up evaluation is written in the course schedule. So let me open again in the acceptance letter. Everything is written in that letter. Yeah, so the deadline for your mock-up evaluation for this round is the 2nd of May, yes. So it's in the evaluation form. So the 2nd of May, we all work by Montreal time at midnight Montreal. So in Vietnam, that will be your morning of the 3rd. So same with the Philippines. So, okay. So good. Thank you very much for your participation. I look forward to receiving your evaluation. All right. So good night.
See you next time.
Thank you very much.
Good night. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
And
you,
that's
Mr.
it.
Miles. Good night.
Bye.
Cô Mai ơi, cho em hỏi một chút xíu là cái mock-up ấy là em có thể chọn hay là
Chọn được rồi, bạn chọn cho 2 cái đấy, có một trong 2 cái đấy đây, cái project mà mình có ở đây các bạn có thể chọn được.
vâng. Dạ em hiểu rồi. Cảm ơn. Hiện tại là ở Việt Nam là ngày độc lập và ở thành phố Hồ Chí Minh đang bắn pháo bông ấy ạ, nhưng mà mọi người ngồi ở đây là đang bỏ pháo bông để mà xem nên là rất là nhiệt tình luôn. Dạ
Rồi,
vâng.
cảm ơn các bạn rất là nhiều.
Dạ, chào cô, cảm ơn cô.
Ok, rồi.
Chào cô, cảm ơn cô ạ.
Chúc các bạn ngủ ngon.